If you know about Toto Wolff, you know he's not someone who's easy to impress, and Mercedes hasn't been doing him any favors lately. But there is someone who was able to impress him, and no, it wasn't George or Lewis. It was their revered backup driver, Nyck De Vries. How did he manage to do that? Watch the video to find out. First up, Nyck De Vries, lucky run or future champion. A lot of folks consider De Vries to be a junior driver, when in fact he's not. He's 27 years old. That's more than Verstappen, Sainz, and Leclerc. But he's considered a junior at times because he's inexperienced when it comes to F1. De Vries is a reserve for Mercedes and was brought in because Williams' current driver, Alex Albon, had a ruptured appendix, and then he was able to do something that even Albon himself has rarely done. He finished 9th, winning 2 points. The former Formula E racer was also voted the People's Driver of the Day, mostly because he really shocked everyone with the way he was able to score points. We voted for Sainz though. Like, come on, the guy went from 18th to 4th. Now the question that's on everyone's mind is, did he just get lucky, or could he be the future F1 champ? The answer is neither, because he's too old to be a champion now. No, we don't mean folks over 27 can't be champions. We have Lewis Hamilton, who has disproved that not once, but multiple times. But he doesn't have the time to make it all the way up to a great team and then win multiple races. However, his points finish wasn't lucky. It was skill, hard work, and dedication. If you didn't watch the race, make sure to watch the highlights after this video. That'll tell you how well Nyck De Vries performed. So we're definitely hoping to see more of him in the coming few seasons. Spoiler alert, we might, but you'll have to wait till the end of the video. Next up, what did others, and especially Nyck, think about the race? Head of vehicle performance over at Williams, Dave Robeson, stated that Nyck had an excellent drive. He felt that the Dutch driver was able to defend with grace, yet put extreme pressure on the car ahead. He admitted that the team gave him an extreme strategy, which pushed the driver's tires to the limit. However, he was able to pull through just fine. And yes, we just mentioned he didn't get lucky, but that doesn't mean that luck didn't play a, albeit small, part, because when the safety car arrived, he was suffering from a hot front brake disc. If that was to cause any problems, he avoided them. Nicholas Latifi was more focused on his own race when asked about Nyck, and stated that it was a tough race since he was compromised at the start. But let's talk about how Nyck felt. He stated that it was the right start and the clean run into lap 1 that led him to the points. He especially mentioned how happy being the driver of the day made him, and even though we didn't vote for you, Nyck, we're proud of you. He ended his comments with the sentence, "Hopefully, I'll get a shot next year." And you know what? We really hope you do. But as we mentioned, he also managed to impress Toto Wolff, the hard-shelled Austrian billionaire who might just be someone almost impossible to please. Moving on, how did Wolff react? Nyck De Vries managed to shock Toto with his points finish at Monza. As a Mercedes reserve driver, he's known quite well to the team, and the Mercedes boss enjoyed his drive so much that he praised his performance not in an interview, but in a press release. But he was also happy because of his own team's performance. Maybe that's why he felt like giving out compliments. Lewis Hamilton and George Russell managed to minimize the damage at Monza, a circuit where the W13 is at a huge advantage. So all in all, the boss was happy that a lot of points were earned. It was the Dutch, though, who stole the show. The Austrian couldn't believe that De Vries was able to score 2 championship points at a tough circuit on his debut, especially considering that the car is, and no offense to Williams, terrible. On top of that, he had barely driven it beforehand. Talking about the bloke, Toto said, "Finally, a word for Nyck. He did the absolute maximum today, jumping into a car he had barely driven in FP3, then scoring 2 points. It showed exactly what he is capable of. You did it, Nyck. You impressed someone you really benefit from impressing in F1. Now maybe move on to Binotto and Horner. But does that mean we can expect to see him at Mercedes next season? Let's find out." Lastly, is the future bright for Mr. De Vries? We can't say it's not bright, but we can't say it's as bright as Mercedes either. Going into the 2023 season, Mercedes, Red Bull, and Ferrari will all retain their current drivers, so that means there's no open seat in the top 3 teams. However, there's extremely strong speculation that De Vries will be going to Red Bull's sister team, AlphaTauri. How did that come to be? Well, you know how the story goes, but we'll recap it for you anyways. Sebastian Vettel announced his retirement and his departure from Aston Martin. Another veteran, Fernando Alonso, left his team Alpine to join Aston Martin. Now there was an empty seat at Alpine, so they announced that F2 champion Oscar Piastri will be racing for them. But that didn't happen. Piastri instead went to McLaren, and they replaced Ricciardo with him. Now Alpine is out of a driver, and Ricciardo is out of the seat. It made perfect sense for the two to shake hands, but that wouldn't happen since there's the whole history. You know what we're talking about. Consequently, Alpine signed Gasly from AlphaTauri, leaving AlphaTauri with an open seat. Who are they giving it to? Well, Nyck De Vries probably. Helmut Marko, the Red Bull advisor, was seen meeting De Vries in Austria. According to reports, this meeting was about the Dutchman's move to AlphaTauri next season. It might not be the best outcome since AlphaTauri is a bottom-tier team, but he's 27, and even though he's darn good, at this point, he should just focus focus on being on the grid, and that's all. He could wait for Lewis to retire, but that doesn't seem like it's going to happen anytime soon. Other news, and that's that for the Nyck De Vries debut. We're almost at the end of this video, but we'd like to take a couple of minutes to discuss some important developments happening in the sport. Post-summer break has been chaotic and eventful to say the least, so let's talk about all the drama. First of all, Porsche is not entering the F1. A month or so ago, the F1 world was abuzz with news regarding Porsche's deal with Red Bull. They were to acquire a 50% stake in the team and also manufacture their engines, but that kind of went down the drain. Porsche wanted more oversight. Red Bull really didn't want more oversight, and well, the two parties couldn't reach an agreement. It makes sense though. The reason why Red Bull is so good is that they're not tied to any manufacturer. There's no bureaucratic chain of command making the team nimble. If any regulation is announced, they can act on it right there and then. Why would they give that up for some of that Porsche money? And they're already winning this season and will go into the next super strong as well, so what do they have to worry about? Let's talk about Audi. Porsche couldn't do it, but hey, at least one Volkswagen-owned company will be on the grid. Audi will officially be entering F1 in 2026, and we're excited to see what the brand brings. They've had a long history with motorsport, and we're happy to see someone with this much racing experience enter the sport. But no, they won't be entering as an 11th team. No, they'll be replacing Alfa Romeo, the Italian mid-tier team. Best of luck to you, Audi. We hope you stay true to your tagline, progress through technology, on the grid. Finishing up, Alex Albon updates us on his health. You wouldn't be here watching this video if it wasn't for Albon's appendix. He's safe and he's healthy. However, he stated that he might not be able to race in Singapore. The race, which is a couple of weeks from now, is one of the most awaited Grand Prix of the season. But the bright side is, we'll get to see Nyck De Vries at it again. Can he shock us this time too? Well, stay tuned to find out. And that's a wrap for this video. What do you think the Dutchman should do to secure his future on the grid, not just next year, but in the coming years as well? Comment below and let us know. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more. See you in the next one.